Alright, we are all set. So, today the goal is to start producing and selling a lot of robots. So the first step to doing that is click that to say
Great
finish.
work. I'm excited. It's time to set up our construction industry. We still need to research a building to construct before we can get started. I recommend the radio tower.
Okay, cool. Why?
Let's use our construction industry to build a giant radio tower. This one's a little more complex. You should check the info database for details.
Okay. Don't know what that means. Assembly line sounds promising.
Now is the time to go big. We need to construct a full-featured assembly line to mass-produce more advanced robots.
Seems like a lot of work. Let's get in this simple assembly line and producing robots we already have first. So, what I think we want is a transport ship port. So we need steel beams, advanced machinery parts, energy cells, and polymer boards. So let's see, where are those all be? Polymer boards would probably be around here. Though they're not stored in a box, so I'm just going to have to spend ages picking them up. The box is all the way over at the Ollymite source. Which, it's probably just worth going over there and grabbing them from there, because I need so many. Let's get some of those. And steel beams, energy cells, and polymer boards. I don't know why I need hundreds upon hundreds of each of these things. Seems a bit excessive. Alright, steel beams are stored over here, I believe, in this box. Yeah, let's just grab all of those. And energy cells and polymer boards. Alright, energy cells are here. Give me a stack of those. And then head over to the Ollymite location for the polymer boards. Alright, running along. I don't think jetpacking is faster by default. I think running along the ground is faster unless you have to worry about terrain. Let's grab a whole bunch of those. Let's make a transport ship port. And this is another gigantic thing. So let's just place it down somewhere. I mean, there's so much vegetation and terrain and stuff that it's going to be very difficult to do. So let's move over here just to buy this and drag out there. And make a giant platform. And transport ship port. Alright, so we have this. No grid connection. How does this not have grid? Oh, is this going to be high voltage, I assume? Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's make a bunch of power poles, mostly large, but a couple small ones were beneficial for the last bit. Alright, then we get the large power poles in, which how far it has to go, something like that. And this is just for science to know what exactly we're working with. just put these power poles along this bridge thing that I have here. Until we get back here, and now we can just connect up to that little guy. Alright, so now that's connected. I think it's relatively power intensive, so need to worry about that, but I've fallen into the water again. Getting out of the water is like weirdly difficult. Alright. Total ships 4, ships available 4, ships with task 0. Okay, how do I give a ship a task? I don't see any way aside from this. I don't see how I'm supposed to do that. Like, there are no other buttons. Can you, like, get inside of it or something? Alright, I have 4 ships that do nothing. Maybe it's gotta be connected via, what's it called? Where is that thing that we use? A space station terminal? Like maybe having that gives me options at the space station terminal? Because I do know that it's supposed to be used to transport things to and from the space station. So let's run back here and see if anything suspicious has changed there. Alright, terminal should be here. Oh boy, transport bots. Huzzah! Spaceships, storage. Sales platform. No, none of this. Not gonna be that. Alright, I officially just have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Oh, speaking of that, I should continue doing researches like Drone Miner 2. Storage, maybe. Xenoferrite ore rubble. Your custom rules for shipping pads and planetary shipping. You know, to keep on station, max to ship to station. Alright, no, that's not it. Alright, then how does it work? Please explain. Transport ship port. Automatically transporting goods from places that provide them to places that request them. Like construction ships, the system is fully automated. As long as a requested item is provided somewhere, a transport ship will automatically start hauling. Note, transport ships are also used for certain other automated transportation tasks, like bringing items to and from the space station, and not just for the construction industry. Construction warehouses store construction material and construction rubble. Construction material from the warehouse once a construction site requests it. Alright, so how do I have this do bringing items to and from the space station? I would like to have it do that. Okay, maybe I need a construction warehouse, so let's grab more steel beams and more circuit boards. and make a construction warehouse and see what happens. Alright, so give me a stack of those. And a stack of steel beams, although I could have sworn I took, like, almost all of them. Yeah, what is going on here? This isn't getting enough. Okay, well, let's just put this little loop back on there so that this is definitely getting enough xenoferrite or rubble, because currently it's just not getting prioritized, I guess. And we need a lot of steel beams for this. We need 200 of them, in fact. Not to mention just enough to make up whatever deficit we've had. That much. Alright, so hopefully that... How long is this going to take? So that's like 30 total. Alright, time to do some manual crafting. You can't manual craft that. Fantastic. Just what I wanted. Alright, so let's just block that off so that these are all stored for use. Don't even know if this is what I need to be doing. Oh, I have 187, so I just need a couple. Yeah, so I just need like 15 to make a construction warehouse. So let's do that. And then we can put that back in, and steel production can continue as normal. Alright. Finish more research. Start more research. We're going to need more building materials. We need so many building materials for all of this. The pads are so huge. Where's the building material stockpile? Is it this one? Yes. Alright, I'm just going to take all of these and head over to the science lake, I guess. So we head on over here. And we need to set up another little platform. So let's just have that be like here, I guess. Have it go out a little bit. And then giant square. So then we can put down our construction warehouse. Alright, congratulations, that exists now. So yeah, this can only do construction material and rubble. So that is not what we want then. We're gonna take that apart. So then it says that these are used for automatically transporting things. But I don't know how to use them for that purpose. How do you... Alright, the grid is struggling now. That's fantastic. how are we supposed to make these work? Is it maybe if we go shipping pad small? So we need electronic components for the emergency beacons for the shipping pads. So it might just be the shipping pads. I really wish the nearest flat space to do science on wasn't so far from my factory. Just having to constantly run back and forth like this is a pain. So we have 2 shipping pads here, but they're both like in use actively doing things that I need to be doing. So I don't really want to mess with them. And if this works, I'm going to need a bunch more anyway. So, which is the electronic components? It's this one. Alright, so let's craft a shipping pad. And start headed over to the Science Lake. Have a nice flat space for them over there anyways, so we can just use that. It's funny, this place looks so fancy, but none of this does anything. This is all just experimental nonsense. Alright, shipping pad. Fortunately not all that big. Configure shipping pad. Transport wares from the space station to the factory. Ignium or rubble. Small cargo ship. Alright. But I want to use those transport drones. I want it to use these. Alright. So that is just that. Is there something I'm missing here? Like some research that I need in order to do this? Shipping pad medium. Maybe. Cargo shuttles. That's not what we want. Solar panel large. Not what we want. Let's see. So these are like all of the things that we don't have, right? And shipping pad medium seems like... What are we missing for this? Station hull improvements. Alright, let's do that research instead. And maybe shipping pad medium is what we need, but I don't think so. Let's get a space station terminal over here at least, so that we don't have to run all the way back just to check. Where is that? Alright, so we have this. In terms of spaceships, we have 3 spare hangar space. Alright, so then let's get just a theoretical little guy. And I want you to do market trade, xenoferrite rubble, and just buy 1,000 of it. Oh, I don't want it to be a one-time trade. But, whatever. That's fine. And then you transport xenoferrite rubble down. So the shipping pad can store 2,000. The ship can only move 1,000. And it has like all of these belts, which makes it go very, very fast. So it has basically 2 max speed belts. Alright, we've unlocked hull improvements technology. And now we're starting on shipping pad medium. And we can also start unlocking cargo ship tier 2 support, I guess. So that trade takes like 10 minutes to buy 1,000. Which is like really not all that much, right? Still trying to figure out how exactly this works. We have this. We need a storage container. Can we get storage container 2? No, not easily. Let's just get a storage container. And put it just like there. Make the floor go under it, because it'll bug me otherwise. And apparently we ran out of loaders at some point. Alright. So then we have that, which should theoretically so as soon as we have 1,000 xenoferrite, which will happen in 9 minutes when that ship comes back, then we will have all of that. Then it'll also come down here. And the storage can store up to 4,000. Alright, I don't think we need either of those. Now, it would be really nice if this test just straight up worked. And it would also be really nice if it could go faster than that. Let's actually test. If I set a recurring order for 1,000 xenoferrite. And buy 1,000. And that's active now. And it looks like it takes 12-ish minutes to go. Hopefully the faster cargo ship, hopefully the tier 2 cargo ships will either be faster or transport more materials or both. Because only having 1,000 is really going to be a bit of a problem. Now, the other thing I want to do is just like make a bunch of solar panels. Because having a bunch of solar panels is probably going to be just helpful for power grid situations generally. So we make a bunch of those, then we bring them over here to like the power grid area. Make a nice little space. And don't place it there, that would be weird. We're just going to place all of these down. We've unlocked shipping pad medium. Cool. How many of these did I make? Alright, apparently that many. It's funny, the solar panels are too short to reach the top of the tall power pole. Alright, so now we just need to connect them all up to that. And solar power is now providing about as much power as the steam turbine. Alright, set more research going. Let's see here. We could do some of that stuff. Let's just finish off some of the things we're currently working on. And contact space station. Station upgrades. Spaceship workshop. Thrusters. Reduce market travel time by 2 minutes. Alright, that's pretty good. Cargo bay, I don't think we need. Hangar, I don't think we need. What was the thing? Docking facilities. We need to finish structural improvements. Alright, let's do that then. It's gonna apparently take quite a while. And spaceships. Buy ship. Alright, so yeah, the tier 2 cargo ships cost a lot more but have double the cargo capacity, which is a pretty good sign. Now, what's not a good sign is that this really does just take ages to get anything. If it's like 12 minutes per trip, is there any way that I can see specifically how much that is? Galactic market. I really wish it just like showed me somewhere. Maybe in this. Reduce market travel time by 2 minutes. I can do that a couple times. And we're definitely going to have to do that once we do this structural improvements thing. Because we need a lot of resources to show up. Okay, but I'm pretty sure, like, in terms of what we're trying to do here, I'm pretty sure we have all the knowledge we need, assuming that this works. I still don't understand what... Like, it says that these can be used to transport things from the space station. It says that these can be used to transport things from the space station to the ground, but they seem to very clearly not be doing that. Regardless, I think we can just... I mean, we may as well set up the production line here, right? Like, there's no reason to put it somewhere else. So I need at least one more. I need 2 more cargo, whatchamacallit, landing pads or whatever those are called. What are those called? Shipping pads. And I need the resources to build a factory. So that's, loaders, unloaders, manufacturers, all that sort of stuff. So I need plates, machinery parts, and emergency beacons, which is just plates. Alright, so grab a couple stacks of those. And yeah, that gives us enough to make a bunch of shipping pads. Grab a stack of machinery parts as well, just because I can. Reduce the crafting time. Alright, then what else do we need? We need ramps, we need assemblers, and we need all the types of loaders, and we need smelters and crushers. Probably use another stack of belts, although it probably isn't strictly necessary, at least in the short term. Alright, so we get those. Then we have a good number of the balancers. So let's grab some of those and then head over here for some loaders. Loader second lane and loader first lane. I don't have third lane loaders automated, I don't think. I'm gonna roll that for now and just manual craft them, assuming I have the resources for that. Yes, I do. Alright, smelters and crushers, we have the resources to make both of those. And what else do we need for this? I don't think we need any of those or any of those. So let's head over and start this going. I don't see any sign that those transport ships are doing anything. Or any sign that this... Aha! There we go. Look at this. The xenoferrite showed up eventually. So if we go to Galactic Market, why is that set to buy 100? It should be set to buy 1,000. It literally specifically says minimum to buy 1,000. So I don't know what that's about. Alright, so let's craft up the rest of those and put them in just all next to each other. Alright, where's the instructions? Alright, so this is space station to factory, give me Technomore rubble. There we go. And then this, I guess, is going to be the output, right? So factory to space station. Actually, would just have to figure out whatever type of drone we need. Alright, so then we expand this out like that. And find another logistics container or two. So yeah, we can put that there. And have those belts running past it. And those go in. We should also set the recurring trade orders now, because it takes ages for them to show up. New recurring order. Technum ore rubble. Minimum to buy 1,000. Buy if below 1,000. And actually, let's check. Spaceships, any of you doing those? Probably just need to buy an additional spaceship and tell at least some of you to go do market trade routes. Alright, why are you all buying construction material? I don't need construction material. Alright, pause you. And they're still going on that. So hopefully that doesn't completely bankrupt me, although it probably will, knowing my luck. And it'll probably prevent me from buying the Technum ore that I need. Alright. We're just going to move on from that. So we need to... I believe last time we had settled on lighting bots, because they just require... Oh, they require steel, so I also need to bring in the ignium. Or we could do transport bots, just as like a simplistic thing, but... Yeah, okay, so then this one has to... Space station to factory, give me ignium. And move at least 1,000 every trip. And galactic market. New trade order. Ignium ore rubble. Buy it 1,000. And create. Alright, we've done whatever that is. Now we can start researching mining drill speed. Alright, I have another one of these. Very good. It can go in there. And input into the box. Alright, so I have all of these that are now providing the 3 inputs that I need. In theory. In practice, they're definitely not going to be doing that anytime soon. So let's... What's the first step in making this? I need to make machinery parts, steel beams, electronic components, and glass. Okay. Well, the first thing I need is I need more building materials. Because I only have 100, and you need thousands of building materials in order to do anything ever. So let's head over here and grab more of those. I need to just be able to make giant platforms without worrying about size so much. Alright, so that's this one here. And I actually might need that. I don't need that. And what else do I not need? don't need 37 glass. I don't need some of these random giant buildings. Let's just go over here. I think I have a box. Yeah, back here. Alright. That at least gives me one inventory slot to play with, and we'll have plenty once we place down all these foundations. Alright. We are over here. So now let's just create like a big old platform. Plenty of space. So first we need to take this ore rubble. Actually, we need to make some of the blend stuff because we're making steel. So that can be priority number one. I guess, actually, priority number one is actually getting the stuff out of these boxes. So we have, theoretically, as much as 2 belts worth. And I want to be building, like, so that this could theoretically do absolutely massive quantities. So that I don't have to come back and, like, completely rework everything later if I want to expand it. Output. Not intake. Alright, so now I have these boxes which contain these things. And you are supposed to both be outputs as well. So the first thing to make is xenoferrite ore blend. So first we need to split this because we need some of this to go off and do its own thing. And how am I going to manage that? So, like, ideally, I would have just 2 belts over here that just do xenoferrite things, and 2 belts over here that do steel things. So, is it just like something like that? I want these to be balanced, right? Like, I want them each to have 2 full belts. So we have that. Yeah, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing. We're just gonna ignore that then. No, I do want to work on making this balanced properly. So, let's see here. This is a full belt. And now it's split into these 2. Now these center 2 are merged to be 1 belt. And what if I just do that? What does this even accomplish? So we have 2 belts go in. Then they get split. Yeah, I think this literally does nothing. I'm pretty sure this does nothing. Right, we're gonna tear that whole thing apart and logic this back from scratch. So we need this belt to combine with one of these 2 belts, but we also need these outer 2 belts to combine with each other. So something like that. This is very silly. I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like, it doesn't matter at all. Alright. But we have this now. And now, I believe, this has them balanced. So this one splits left and right, and is halfway, half of that belt, half of that belt. This one does the same. It's half of that belt, half of this belt. So if we then just expand that out, slope it down, and then bring that forward. Now we have two belts which are... No, literally none of this matters. It's not even necessary. They're balanced because they're just pulling from the same stupid... they're pulling from the same thing. They're pulling from the same box, so they'll just balance out however they're needed to. So this is all unnecessary. We can just ignore it. It would be cool if boxes didn't exist, but boxes do exist and they're cool. So let's tear all this apart and throw the ore rubble back in there. Congratulations. So we can just take one of these belts and send it off to here, where it meets up with the ignium. Although, wait, actually what I wanted was... No, this is fine. This is fine. We're going to send one of the belts off there and this belt off here. So this meets up with the ignium, right? And it needs to be combined in a crusher. I need to make a bunch of crushers. So let's make a bunch of those. And put them... Let's just put them like here-ish for no particular reason. So then this belt of ignium goes like there and then along. This belt of xenoferrite goes like there and then along. And these make ore blend. And I need this to use... This uses twice as much xenoferrite as it does ignium, which is not convenient for the balancing of all this, but so I want this to use theoretically a full belt of xenoferrite. So that's 80, 160, 240, I think it's just one more crusher. Alright, in you go, and do that. So 80 times 4 is 320, so that's this full belt of xenoferrite done. Now we set these as intakes, and these as intakes, and that's that. Also, how is the transportation of the other things going? Alright. Xenoferrite and technum are in the works, apparently. But ignium apparently is not. Which I don't know why it isn't. Are we just broke? We might just be broke. We might not have the money to do it. Yeah, we just straight up don't have the money to do it. Let's pause that upgrade. Because that upgrade is constantly draining money, which is probably largely responsible for us being broke. As well as, like, buying those ships. Alright, so we have used a full stack of xenoferrite to make how much? 20, 40, 60, 80 ore blend. And then if we go to, where is it? Metallurgy. Steel is made in smelters. So let's make a bunch of smelters. Which we're just going to go there and pull from that output belt. How many smelters? Oh, that's a crusher, not a smelter. They look the same. This is a smelter. And it doesn't say how much it uses. So we're just going to put down a couple, I guess. And then these have to output onto this belt. And if these happen to use them in the perfect ratio, that would be great. Because then they could just grab them from this belt, like immediately after each machine. And if that were the case, it would be something like that. Actually, can we tell? Alright, metallurgy, math time. So this makes 1 every 3 seconds. This uses 1 every 6 seconds. So we need twice as many smelters, I believe. It's 4 crushers. So that's 6, 7, 8 smelters. It'd be really convenient if the ignium were to show up so I could actually see this like in the process of working and know whether I was doing it right or not. But oh well, can't have everything. Alright, so those are all powered up. And really no sign of ignium. Please show up. I have 1,000 fermalite. Can I just... Oh, I need 3,000 for this because it's 3 times as expensive. Alright. So let's just buy... Let's just buy some to start. Alright, so that's happening. And hopefully the ignium will show up and confirm my quick napkin math. But now we have steel beams. So what else do we need? Machinery parts, electronic components, and glass. I may have made a mistake in my choice. Are any of these easier? Vacuum bots are technically easier, but like they have the same sales price as transport bots, so like who cares? Alright, so I need to... Can I even buy that sort of thing? Also, I need to be doing research. Planter drone assembly. Maybe planter drones will be the secret to success. Alright, so we expand that out. We get another shipping pad. And we put it in. Need to get it to line up properly. It just goes there. And I can buy concrete. I didn't get the the purchase license for glass. Oh, that's frustrating. I thought I had gotten mineral rock purchasing. And I assume it's going to be very expensive. Market office. Mineral rocks, 20,000. Yep, gravel is 20,000. Glass directly is 20,000 as well. Looks like everything in this category is like 20,000. Some of these very cheap things are 5,000. Alright. So we're just gonna have to... I guess we can finish setting this up and then just like pretend that we have the glass. So that's not going to be configured for the moment. But it's going to be mineral rock. So let's expand all this out. And we need that same little storage crate thing. Where are you? There you are. And you go there. We're gonna have to run back for resupply soon, but may as well do every little bit we can. Alright, so that goes there. And it goes out there and out there. So this outputs here. Gotta make sure to put those in, otherwise the whole thing just won't do anything. Alright, so those all go in like that. And that's the steel beams. So then these come along here. And they can just go like that. Why is that up there and not on the ground level like a normal belt? Alright, we've unlocked planter drone assembly. Are those conveniently similar? No, they need hover engines as well, which I believe... There's hover engine. Okay, hold on. Hover engines are doable, actually. Technim rods, advanced machinery parts, and electronic components. So let's go back through these and see which one of these only require hover engines. Okay, that requires firm light sheets, so that's out. That requires weapon components. That requires circuit boards. Alright, yeah, so all of these need something that I don't have. So we're just going to continue working along the light bots. And portable light. Why not? Is that useful? Probably not, but may as well unlock it. Alright, so this is the mineral rock input. And gravel, and then glass. Alright, what's actually going to be the limiting factor here? I don't know. We're just going to make one belt of everything. Or maybe we should go full 2 belts of everything. Like, how much? Let's see. That also requires machinery parts and electronic components. Electronic components are all Technum, but the machinery parts are all of the xenoferrite. Alright, that's come down and delivered me more xenoferrite that I don't need. Alright, you actually shut down. I need... Yeah, so you bringing stuff in to start with is nice because it lets me track like the various things that we're producing. However, I actually need to save the money so that I can buy things. Speaking of which, 24 money. Flat broke, but ignium is showing up, so that's fun. Alright. Well, let's see. What was I doing? So, right. I think I actually want is for this second belt of rubble to go all the way over here and make even more steel. So let's sort those. Let's make some more crushers. And it's going to need a bit of a gap. Actually, not really. So that just goes like that. And then we put in the crushers. Another 4 does another belt of that. Then the ignium belt comes along. And we just need to make sure that this is the intake belt for this. Alright, so we have all of those. And then these all go across like that. Alright, so that is now 2 full belts of xenoferrite ore rubble, all theoretically used for steel. And we're gonna then take this leftover belt and use it for the machinery parts, and the production rates will just balance out. Like if we have... This is going to be too much steel production, so it'll back up, and these will stop running, and then we'll start producing machinery parts. Alright, then the other thing we need is another 8 smelters, which we can't manage as is. 3, 4, 6. Alright, we need to head back to grab more of just about everything. So let's head back. Actually, what are we missing from smelter production? Xenoferrite plates mostly. So let's head over here and grab some more plates. Let's see, which of these giant boxes was it? It was this one. Alright, so we got a bunch of those. And we also need probably some more steel beams. So let's go grab some of those. And apparently we're also not carrying like any technum rods. So let's go and grab some of those as well. Alright, now that should be enough for us to at least craft everything we're missing. And I don't think we have smelters automated yet anyways, so that's fine. Alright, so now we come over here. We get in range. It's funny, as you get closer you can see the screens popping into rendering. Alright, so now we set all of these output there. And we set them all to make the blend. And blend. Alright, so now we have like one belt of steel-ish. So now all of these just get inputs, and they don't need to have the recipes set, because they are convenient like that. And they all get outputs. Alright, what is that one doing? Why would you place it like that? There we go. Alright, so that is that. A whole bunch of steel. Next up, we have glass production, which is honestly somewhat similar. We crush it into gravel, and then we smelt it into glass. So let's make a bunch of crushers. Where is that section of the thing? Here it is. Alright, so we have a bunch of those getting made, and now we just... 3, 4, 5... I don't know how many we're going to need. Gravel. 10 each. Goodness gracious. Alright. But it does make 30 gravel. And if I remember correctly, we need as much glass as we do steel beams. So I don't know how much we're going to need for this. And I don't want to do the math, so we are just simply going to set this up. It'd be nice if the ignium showed up so I could actually look at what that needed. The ignium is theoretically on its way, right? Like, if I check market transactions, ignium isn't in there, which means it should have shown up by now. What is wrong? What is wrong with you? Do I not have like a spare ship? I might not have a spare ship for it. Oh, it's because I set it to only buy 300. So yeah, if I go to storage, there's 300 ignium ore rubble there. So I need to tell you to move 300. And it's now inbound. Cool. So now that can show up and we can actually do the math and figure out how much of everything we need. Because the smelters are annoying like that. Alright, so this uses 10 and makes 10. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 80. I'm not bad at math. Why was I counting by 20? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. That seems wrong. Oh, right. I left midway through placing smelters because I ran out. Alright, you get the last two smelters. And so now that's all working along as well. So this is 160 steel a minute. Right? Because because it's 16 machines at 10 a minute, which means that we can't use more than 160 glass a minute, even if we wanted to. So we can do this stuff with that in mind. Alright, so then this comes along as the outputs, and I need loaders. Please give me like 20 loaders, thank you. So this is going to output a whole lot of gravel. Now, this, right, the gravel to glass. So it's 5 gravel to 1 glass, which means in order to make enough glass, I will need my brain. So 160 times 5. 160 times 4 is 640. But times 5 is... Alright, but if that's 640, then that's going to be just 2... But 640 is 2 belts of gravel. Which is... Alright, if that's 2 belts of gravel, it's probably going to need... Probably going to need to produce around that much, because we're not using all of this steel production, because we also need some of the xenoferrite for machinery parts. So we're just going to make 2 belts of gravel, I guess. Alright, that was the wrong button. So that's 30, 60... 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. 210, 240, 270, 300, 330, 350. Need more crushers. There must be a better way. Is there a crusher too that I could be using? Oh, there is actually. But let's not worry about that for now, because that's probably going to require even more headaches to set up. Alright, let's just continue placing these crushers along. And bring that belt. And these need to be inputs, not outputs. Input, input, input. Alright, this is a lot of gravel. A silly amount of gravel, in fact. So then let's start the smelters for this, which go there, and we're going to run along the back of this. And I need more. Probably. So let's start with that for now, I guess. I'm gonna have to... Like, the fun thing is that this entire setup is non-functional until I earn a lot of money anyways, so... sort of whatever. Let's make a bunch of loaders, because we still need those. And we're gonna have to head back for another resupply soon. Those all go in like that. Finishing research. Send that through. Alright, so we have technum, technically. We have a little bit of ignum. The only thing we are waiting on is the mineral rock. Let's make sure to just pause all of those trade orders, because we need to just store up a bunch of money. And we're making 6,000 per in-game day. And the... what was it? The mineral rocks cost is 20,000. So in 4 in-game days, we should be able to unlock the mineral rocks license. As long as we don't buy anything else. Alright. I know I've checked this before, but 5 gravel makes 1 glass. And it's 1 glass every 5 seconds. So that's, what, 12? 12 glass a minute per smelter. So that's 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72. That's actually more than the crushers are crushing, right? No, the crushers make... Alright, the crushers make 30 a minute. And 6 per 12 seconds. This uses... Actually, it's the same, right? No, this uses 1 a second. This produces 1 every 2 seconds. So these smelters actually have to be on the back half of this. Or like, this belt needs to be running that way, I guess. So let's tear that belt out and send it back running the other way. Because we need all the spare crushers before we get to the spare smelters. And we have to do the math again because I've forgotten again. Gosh, I wish there were a place to take notes. Alright, so this is 1 every 5 seconds. There are 60 seconds in a minute, which means that this is 12 a minute. And we need at most 160, I believe. How much steel was this going to be? So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. So yeah, 160 steel, which means we need 160 glass at most. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 108, 120, 132, 144, 156, more than 160. So that's all the smelters we need. And we're gonna head back and resupply again. Need to do so many resupplies for this. Alright, back to this. We're gonna need to grab loaders and more of whatever we use to make smelters, xenoferrite plates, and machinery parts. Alright, so grab a bunch of those. and a couple of those. And then head over here to grab the loaders, which I believe are just this one. Yes. You can grab another 50 of those. 20 as well. May as well. May as well just grab a couple extra while we're there. Now, are we back to doing good on this? Yeah, we can once again craft most of what we need to craft. Ooh, after the steam overlay. Didn't mean to do that. Just happened to hit Shift and Tab at the same time by mistake. Alright, so now we head back over here. And Science Assistant Drone. 99%. Done. Screen bot. Sort of the opposite of the light bot. Alright, so what were we doing? We're in the middle of doing something here. This was all of the smelters we need, but we needed to hook them up. Right, so those all get hooked up there so that they can smelt some glass. And I forgot to grab building materials. That was like the most important thing. Alright, back we go. Man, if only there were hypertubes in this game so we can move faster. Although I think there are like escalators, right? Yeah, so we could be like building an escalator back and forth for this. And we probably should be, to be honest. Alright. So now the problem is we have not got enough inventory spaces to even take the things. Alright. Get rid of conveyor mark 1s, get rid of conveyor balancer mark 1s, conveyor slope mark 1s. Don't know how those keep creeping into my inventory. And what else do we not need? One single power line isn't going to do us any good. And this steam turbine is unnecessary. And 2 spare xenoferrite plates are not as helpful as 200 building materials. Alright, and back we go. Construction. If only we had the dimensional depot, then I wouldn't have to do this, but you can't have everything. Alright. We're back. And we were building enough crushers. So this actually, come to think of it, since it's running the other way, these need to be reversed. At least for the last couple, I think. Because we need this crusher to be outputting anything into this machine. And I don't know how many of these we would need to do like that. Probably all of them. Yeah, probably all of them. So let's just deconstruct all of these loaders. And my poor inventory space has officially been clogged. Alright, so that goes there. Fortunately, the stuff it didn't destroy were the last couple ones, which I wanted it to not destroy, so that's fine. And now we just run along, placing all of these like this. And then we swap to outputs. And out they go. Alright, just gotta place all of these guys in. And those couple. Now we need to expand this out. And how much glass production do we need to get 160? How much gravel production do we need to get 160 glass? It's 5 to 1, right? Yeah, 5 to 1. So we need 640-ish, or more than that. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, 330, 360, 390, 420, 450, 480, and 510, 540, 570, 600, 630, 660, 690, nice. 720. Probably enough. I'm gonna put in one more just to be sure. Ultimately, like, if these aren't needed, they just won't run. And there are no convenient efficiency numbers in this to agonize over like there are in Satisfactory, so I'm just gonna build more than I need. No, not outputs. I could have just swapped them, but had already instinctively destroyed them. Alright, so all these go in. That's not a crusher, that's a smelter. What are you doing there? Alright, give me another crusher. Just one more for now. The space situation is still a little bit rough. Alright, so we have all of those in. Now we just need to tell all of them to be gravel. Can I... There's gotta be a way to copy recipes, right? Nope, I don't think there is. Fortunately, there are only a couple recipes in the crusher, so I just have to run along like this. And there. And there. Alright. There are so many of these to do. There must be a better way. If anyone happens to know a better way, then now would be the time to tell me. If there's some hotkey that I don't know about to copy and paste recipes. Alright. Almost done, though. And I've fallen into the ocean. That's how you can tell you're done, because you fall into the ocean. Alright. So now we just need to make that some space. And we need to loop around here. And put those in. And now we set all of these as outputs. And I really hope the belt speed is fast enough. Why are you like this? Please just place in the obviously correct way instead of the obviously wrong way. So this might end up running into belt speed limitations around here. If it doesn't, then it'll quickly get siphoned off by all of these smelters and be fine, but it'll probably be fine either way. Alright, so that's steel and glass done. Then look at all these fun new things that I've unlocked that I'm not going to mess with for ages. Machinery parts, electronic components, and glass. So I need, what did I say? At most 160, because that's how much I can do with the steel. And that's 2 full belts of xenoferrite. So I need 160 machinery parts, 160 electronic components. Electronic components are going to have to sneak their way out of this. The Technum is. Alright, so that sneaks its way over and back down. And let's see here. How do we want this to be set up? I guess we can just split off of these. We could split off of these, or we could just take from the end of the steel line. Either one would be fine. Splitting off from these would be more space efficient. So let's do that. So there you go. You get a splitter. And there's no way I'm going to need 2 belts of this, right? Especially not when it's already being used for that. Alright. And you guessed it, more crushers. Because I believe that is how you make the ore more efficient, is you crush it and then smelt the crushed stuff. So this just goes like there. And just put a bunch of those in and tell you to make xenoferrite ore. And that runs along like that. Alright, great. I have to figure out how much ore we actually need. So we need 160 machinery parts-ish. A little bit less than that, but whatever. Which is 160 plates. Which is slightly better than like 120-ish ore. Alright. So like this stuff we have here is probably already enough even. Really what this is saying is we really need that more efficient steel recipe. So tell all of these to make xenoferrite ore. And then we take the output, belt it along there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there any reason not to put in a 6th just for good measure? Just to make sure I haven't done the math wrong. Again, it'll just balance out to whatever the final production can use. And then we can, if we want to, we can then expand stuff from there as needed. But there's the xenoferrite ore. Now we take that and we smelt it. So let's craft a bunch of smelters. And we need 160 plates or more. Also, this Technum is going to need to move. So we're going to pick that up and just send it back there. It's going to have to go over that belt, but it's just going to have to maneuver around somewhere else at some point. Alright, now we just put in these smelters, which don't quite line up properly. Who cares? Alright, and these take their inputs. And more. And how much is that? That's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. So that should already be enough of those. And again, just gonna pop in one more for good measure. And then throw in the output belt. So these output there, 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 and there. And then the next thing we need are the assemblers to make the machinery parts. So these go in. How many of these are we going to need? Figure assembler, components, machinery parts. 60 a minute each. Pretty good. So we'll need 60, 120, 180, and then one more for good measure. Alright, so that goes in, and that goes in. And then these all take an input, although, no, not like that. We actually need these to be shifted over enough so that the last one can actually work. Because these last couple machines need to be able to put their output into something. We're just going to have these go from here to the left instead. And you get an intake, and you get an intake, you get an intake, and you get an intake. And now we tell these to make machinery parts. Machinery parts. Machinery parts. And machinery parts. Alright, so that's that. What are we missing? We have steel beams, check. Machinery parts, check. Glass, check. We just need the electronic components. Alright, so then those can, I guess, take up this space over here, which is very awkward. Would have been better to just have the machinery parts there and the Technum in there, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. So let's have that space. And we just have to bring these over. So that goes like that. That goes like that. And then they just go around like that. And then down and down. Alright, so once again, we just need a giant line of crushers. Do I have some of those already? I do. So let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then figure out if we need more. Crushers. Technum or rubble is 40 each. And I don't know how much of this I need. So, what we need is electronic components, which is 1 rod and 2 coils, which is 2 rods. So we need 320 technum rods in order to get 160 electronic components. So let's... And I assume the metallurgy is the same 3-to-2 ratio there. Yes, 2 technum ore to 3. So that's 40, 80, 120, 160. And I would love some more crushers. And 200, 240, 280. 320 is too many, but not in a harmful way. So that goes along. And inputs into all of these. And call these technum ore. Technum ore. Technum ore and technum ore. So now I have a lot of that going. Need just like, I think that much more space will probably do, at least for now. So then we need the output belt, and we need to make rods. Those in. And where is it? In metallurgy? Why have I not been able to find it? Oh, because these are assemblers and not smelters, obviously. Obviously, of course. Alright, so let's say we have 4 of those. And we now just need to put the loaders in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of loaders. So let's craft a bunch of more loaders. Alright, so those all exist. And they need to be like this. Alright, so then that takes input. And how much is that? 30 a minute. That takes in 20 a minute. Then these are 40 a minute each. Alright, so we actually do need the smelters to run to the left, which is fine. Where are they? Let's craft another 10 of those and not misplace them. Alright, so smelters are all in. Now we run the belt along the rest of the way. And we attach all of these up. Like that. Alright, so that's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. We need more. We can go this way, all the way up to here. That one needs to be replaced in order to feed these. Alright, so then that is output there. These all get their inputs. And yeah, that's just empty because this isn't producing anything at the moment. Alright, so then we have 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, and 330. Alright, that is enough. So now we expand that out and bring that belt across. And now all of these output, which will be a full belt of Techno rods. Now we need more space. This is just like a testing thing, so we can get rid of that. And take all of this stuff with it. And obviously leave the foundation, because that's helpful to have. Alright, some random junk contained in there. Get rid of all of those. Accidentally take out the foundation, but that's fine. We can just replace it. Alright, now we fill in this gap in the foundation. Alright, so we take these rods, and we have to just craft them into some wire coils, and then craft some of the wire coils into, let's see, 120 for one machine. So we just need 2 machines of wire coils to get 240. No, we actually do need 3 machines of wire coils. So that's 360 wire coils, which is 180 electronic components, which we can just put in there and after them. So, electronic components, and these just keep going. How many of these do we need? I should do the math. So we need 160 electronic components. So that's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. Alright, cool. Now that belt goes along there. And give me more loaders, thank you. Queue up another giant batch of those. Now all of these need Techno rods, the wire coils, and the electronic components, which we still need to put the recipes in for. It's there, and another one. And another one. And one last one. Alright, so that's that. Next, we come around the back. And we run another belt. So these first couple are outputting wire coils. How many? Where is the first? Right, this machine here is the first electronic components machine. So it does an output there. It outputs to the second line. And it takes these as inputs. And then outputs to there. Alright, and that's the electronic components. And now there's only one step left, which is not this. You get out of here. And we just need to combine everything up in the final assembly and make our robots. And then send them back at some point. Also, we need to research the orbital laser, because it seems like an important thing to do. And also, let's see, we're up to 5,000 money. I believe it's like more expensive than that. Yeah, it's 20,000. So it's been an in-game day since I last checked, basically. Actually, wait, is that right? Did I read that right? 5,486. Our profit in the past day was 5,468. Alright, so you can understand why I was confused and thought I had been looking at the profit instead of the total money, because they were literally almost exactly the same number. Alright, now we just put these in somewhere. And make robots. Lightbot. 7.5 a minute, which means, let's see, 10 of these would make 75. So 20 would make 150, and 22 would make 160. So we need a couple assemblers. I'm getting the feeling that you're not really supposed to make robots in such massive quantities. But here we are. Let's place down all of these. And how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Alright, we're at the point where we are crafting all sorts of intermediate parts to get new production, so it's quite slow. In the meantime, let's do that. And put in another 2. Alright, so that's that. Now we just need... So we're up to like 15 now, and we're about to run into this gigantic wall. That's fine. 16, 17, 18. Alright. If I've done the math right, we should be able to fix this by just going that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 20, which is 150 total robots. 157.5 total robots. And more than 160. Alright, now we just need to attach in the belts. So you just need to configure this so I can remember. We have 4 inputs, which is going to be 2 on either side. And then the output will be the 3rd lane. And we're probably going to need to head back and make more tier 2 belts for this. Oh yeah, definitely. Let's just do that now. And we can grab loaders and stuff as well, which we also need. We're gonna head back. And once this is all set up, we won't need to continue leaning on this like literal one assembler of transport bots for all of our income. Like, it'll take a while for it to get rolling, because it just requires a lot of money to get started. But once it does get started, it should produce like vastly more money than it takes to run. Alright, this is this, right? Alright, let's take a couple hundred of those and run over and grab some loaders. So if I'm feeding 20 from both sides, 65 should be enough. Alright, need to maneuver around that. Grab those 50, and that's just something related. So I do need to start making more third lane loaders because that's how I get my output. Alright, now we run back. We run back to this production line over here. Which is fairly compact, honestly. Like, there's some wasted space in here, but not so much that it's a problem. Alright, so then we run this, which is the second line on this side. And then we come over here, and we run 2 belt lines on this side, and then a third heading back. Alright, so then that goes down that way. And then we head over here. And this one comes along this way. We have researched the orbital laser, which is... I don't know why we need that. I guess for flattening out terrain. Alright, and then we have the third lane loader returning the resources back to, I don't know, this general vicinity. Don't know exactly where they're going. Okay, we forgot to grab the machinery parts out of this. Fortunately, we have space for it. So those go, and output, 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 output. And then I guess they'll just feed in there. Actually, hang on, wait, stop. Let me grab those. Alright, I think for the purposes of planning, there's steel and glass over there, which I want to take those 2 slots. So this one I think actually goes around and takes that slot. Then this is the electronic components. So the electronic components come back this way, and how do we want this to be? Something like that. So then they take that slot. Then we go over here and we find the steel. Is that the steel? No, that's past the steel. This is the steel. So this runs around. I don't love that it's going, like, crossing back on itself, because that might conceivably cause problems later. But for now it's fine. We might have to move this belt if we ever expand the steel production. And then finally we have our glass, which we also forgot to hook the outputs up. So let's just do that real quick. And unlike the steel, we're going to make the glass go this way, so that it doesn't have to cross over itself in case of future upgrades. And these all get outputs. those all go in. Now this comes over here. And just goes up and over this. And gosh, I actually don't like this at all, but it can slip through there. And then there. It's an efficient use of space, I guess. That's what we'll say about that. Definitely not horrifically confusing. Alright, then this just has to go in there. And no, that doesn't hook up to it. That is gonna have to... Oh, it's actually kind of awkward, isn't it? So in order for it to work, specifically this one has to be the long-handled output, and then that can slope up and out. Alright. But that should be everything for that. So now these all get their single inputs. Alright. Gosh, there sure are a lot of these, it turns out. And another one, and another one. And I think I got all of them correctly. So next up, we have the lane 2s, which take from this one, which will be glass once the glass exists. And then we're going to have to go over and do the other side as well, but we're just going to finish off this side first. Alright, and then finally, for this side, we have the super long ones, which are the outputs. So these just all go like that, every single one of them. And almost there. Alright, so that's that side done. Now we swoop around to this side and feed it all of the intake loaders. And this is where blueprints would be great, because I could just do this once and then paste it over and over and over again. Alright, just a few more. Who am I kidding? I'm like halfway through. Alright, so some of these do have the recipes built in, others randomly don't. Alright, now we just put the second lanes in, and then we're going to have to run through and put the recipes in. And then it's just waiting for money so that we can buy the mineral rocks license and import some. And once we do that, we will make some robots, which will give us money, which will let us make more robots, which will give us more money, etc. Until we are rich. Or more realistically, until some unforeseen throughput problem on the landing bays causes this to not run anywhere near full capacity. But we'll get there when we get there. Alright. Lightbot. Robots, Lightbot. Change recipe, robots, Lightbot. Robots, Lightbot. Robots, Lightbot. Robots, Lightbot. And we just have to do this another dozen times. Alright, and then all of this will be worth it once we can buy the mineral rocks from the market to actually turn it on. And maybe it's worth jump-starting it by just grabbing some mineral rocks I have lying around somewhere. Because I'm pretty sure I have some of those. Because that will cause this to start exporting, which will cause us to earn the money to actually buy the thing. Alright. The recipes are all in place. And I just realized we've once again gone a long time without any researches going. So now we're into the tier 4. So we could get solar panels large. Or we could get monument just because it's cool. Let's get advanced steel making because it will immediately make this factory obsolete, at least in part. And who doesn't love having a factory that's obsolete the moment you turn it on? I know that's my favorite thing. R&D lab, more transport bot stuff. Do weight, I guess. Appliance bots. The light bot, that's what we're going for. And we're gonna get so many, we're gonna get a lot of R&D research very quickly. Now, what I was actually intending to do when I opened that was check my money. Up to 7,500. Alright, can I like... I'm already 5 million in debt. Alright. Trade Galaxy sectors 2 out of 2. Trade license 1 out of 5. What does that mean? Do I have to like buy the ability to get more trade licenses? Communication center. Yes, I would eventually have to do that. I still have 1 left. So we don't have to do that now. Alright, let's... Right, I guess the last thing we need to do in order to make this properly functional is the output. So we need another... whatchamacallit? Another one of these. A shipping pad. And crafting all sorts of intermediate components real quick. And now we're crafting the actual thing. And boom. Now we have that. We expand out this space in front of it. And we say from the factory to the space station, transport light bots. And sure, if you have at least 20. God, this is gonna... They're heavy, so I can't even transport that many. I have so many light bots sitting around that I can't do anything with. It's gonna be great. Alright, let's go get some mineral rocks. They should be lying around somewhere over here, probably. Like, I have smelters and stuff over here that I can grab from. What's my inventory looking? I have a lot of free space right now, actually. So that's a good sign. Ah, okay. That xenoferrite patch is expired now. And the other one looks like something is going horribly wrong with it. The joys of not paying attention to your factory for several hours. Alright, where's the glass? The glass is over here, right? Alright, and all of this is empty too? This is where the mineral rocks came from. Alright, so we can grab like 600 glass. And yeah, these have done the same thing that the previous thing did. The Ignite stockpile did, where it it dug out of its range. So let's just get this set back up. I think these have longer range, probably. So if I just do that, yeah, they have longer range, so I can put these in by replacing the old ones, so this can turn back on again. Which is probably not gonna solve the problem for the xenoferrite mine, but that's something to deal with in the future. For now, we head back over here. We've unlocked advanced steelmaking. Let's unlock assembler 3, because if we do increase the production of this, having faster assemblers will make it easier. Alright, so yeah, we're unlocking all sorts of weird stuff and blends. And a better steel beams recipe, which is just the advanced blend, and it's 1-2 instead of 1-1. Alright. 4-2 there, and it gives you 1. So this is literally twice as good. Alright, that's helpful. We'll upgrade this at some point. For now, though, I have the glass. Can I just... Yeah, okay, I can't do that. Makes sense. So then I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. So put a box in, give you an output onto that belt, and have a couple hundred glass. And I believe that's all we need to at least get some of these started. If we have enough electronic components and machinery parts, we have some steel in here, although probably only enough for one each. Alright, there's a light bot there. So now we need to bring this around. And how do we want to squeeze this through? Where's a good spot? We ultimately want it to make its way over here and through there, I guess. So if that just goes like there, and then there, and then there, and then out this way. Oh, but the glass. Alright, we're gonna build it out to there for now, at least. And then this goes out over this way. And then it goes down. And does it need a box? It could probably use a box. So you get one of those. And then you mostly just go straight that way. But you get to go through this box first, so that if any weird stuff happens, then there'll be no problem there. Alright, we have 40 light boxes in the inventory. The spaceship has come down to pick them up. Fantastic. And we desperately need to improve the weight on these things, otherwise they are never going to be transported anywhere. Alright, so sales platform. Enable sale of the light bots. And galaxy map. We have this section, right? Do any of you guys need light bots? Yes, you do. Open supply route configuration. And send as many light bots as you can. Alright, cool. We'll figure out exactly how that works later, once we have an actual proper thing set up. For now, though, we have no light bots currently stored on the market, and a whole bunch of light bots in this box. So this should be coming down again, and it should soon be heading off again. Alright. So that then loads up and goes off. And I assume by this point that we're all out of steel. We've got plenty of glass for the time being, but steel is always going to be the main limiting factor here. And look at that spike in the profit past day category. Each candle represents an in-game hour of 75 seconds. So the past 75 seconds have been like significantly more than twice as good as what we've been doing previously. So that's always a good sign. It would indicate that what we are doing now is working. And there are still a couple more trips to go before this is satisfied. And this can now move at least 22 because we've gotten the technology upgrade to make them lighter. It's fitting that the light bots are lighter than the non-light bots. Alright, so we have all that. So this is all working along basically as expected. We just need to make a lot of money. We're up to 10,000. And alright, so that's just buying stuff. Product category light bots. Production capacity 99,000 per hour. Yeah, 9,900 per hour off of 22 assemblies. That's a lot. Sales. Average demand is around 1,300 per hour just from the sales platforms. So, I mean, that's not a terrible amount, but it's also nowhere near production capacity. So we need more trade routes per the sales, both because it's more profitable. I mean, we need trading licenses for that, so we're just gonna have to deal with that then later. Once we have the money from this running for a bit, and we're gonna need to probably just feed it more steel in order to keep it running. Alright, hang on. Actually, let's think about that. So we have some xenoferrite backed up in all of this, but not a huge amount. We have some technum backed up, but not a huge amount. We artificially fill the box with glass, and it's already used 2 full stacks. just filling all of these machines. So if we turn the steel production on, or if we turn steel purchasing on, is what I mean to say, then probably something bad might happen. We're probably going to run out of money pretty quickly. But it would... Like, we would have to turn everything on and have it be running continually in order for it to work properly. We're up to $12,000. Okay, you know what? Let's get those running then. It's going to buy the ignium, which I believe isn't what we need, but whatever. What are all of my ships doing? 2 are doing recurring market orders. 3 of them are doing recurring market orders. 1 of which is currently running. This one's doing the supply route to Polona. 2 are doing planetary shipping. Alright, what if I just take you out and assign you reoccurring market orders? No, you don't like that. Alright, assign you back to planetary shipping then. And why is it not buying any of these? If below 1,000, buy 1,000. We're definitely below 1,000 of all of those, right? Oh no, we're at 1,000 of xenoferrite and technum. Oh, I turned those off, right. Alright, so I can turn these all back on. The ignium was already turned on because I never bothered to deactivate it. That's the glass one. That's that. So if those come back, then we will start going again. And we'll see how long the burst of 1,000 can last. So there we go. This is just waiting on the ignium. Alright, so everything here looking pretty good. We just need the ignium to show up so that we can actually do that. And we also need to reestablish our source of steel. Or we need to establish our source of glass before we can run this permanently. So let's turn those 2 off. And they can do the stuff they've already bought, but we do need to actually like bring in new resources. Yeah, that's about to run out. Nothing is coming inbound. So if this hits 0, will it immediately start showing up? Is that how this works? No. Alright, how does it work then? I have 2 ships dedicated to planetary shipping, 3 dedicated to market trade routes, and 1 to the supply route. I would have expected that since this hits 0, that it's about to send a ship to resupply it. Unless I'm wrong and this hasn't shown up yet. Ah, I see. So this is still coming in 8 to 9 minutes. So it'll bring that resupply then. Alright, makes sense. In the meantime, this is all just going to be running. And I need to investigate what on earth is going on with, I believe, the xenoferrite, like the relatively distant xenoferrite ore patch was also looking suspicious. Alright, so we head off. Yeah, the starter Techno patch is also looking desperate. But assuming our market-based strategy works here, we should not be worried about ore patches depleting anymore. Like, we should just be able to buy resources. Alright, this looks not great. Yeah, we are definitely running catastrophically low on xenoferrite plates. Our reserves have been enough to keep it until now, but obviously aren't going to be enough forever. So that's this belt here. What is wrong with you? I'm guessing it's going to be more range issues. And we can craft another 8 drone miner, drone miner Mark IIs if we need to, which probably will. Alright, so we head along over here. Why is it so ridiculously far away? Like, they couldn't have made it even slightly closer. Alright, so we had that big spike in our profits when it was active. Now it's not active, and we're going to have to wait until the ignium shows up before they can start again. Fortunately, ignium, the most expensive thing, is also the thing we need the least of. Alright, so for some reason, those two just aren't connected at all, and these ones are all out of range. Yes, so let's craft a bunch of Mark II drone miners. And upgrade you. Are we working now? Yeah, you're much happier now. And while we're at it, let's make some... I can only make 2 loaders. Make some loaders and attach these 2 up. Alright, so then this one isn't even connected to anything at all, so we don't have to worry about it. Let's just connect those 2 up, wait for the loaders to show up, and then we can turn these machines on. Which, gosh, it takes forever to make drone miner Mark IIs. What are they made of? Advanced machinery parts, drone miner Mark Is, and circuit boards. That makes sense. Alright, so now we just have to wait for that, and output there. Yeah, okay, that's gonna have to be messed with a little bit so that there's a straight one at that exact location so that it can take an output belt. Alright, that is back to normal, and this still looks fine in terms of the amount of resources left in it. So we've reestablished that, and our xenoferrite supply hopefully should be okay now. The technum supply is worth worrying about because we don't have a backup source of that yet. Again, the plan is to mostly just buy stuff. Alright, so we are going to head all the way back to the base. We're still researching Assemblers 3, which I assume means we ran out of Mark IV science packs at some point during that whole process. And now we're doing basic production of them. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, a lot of my power is solar based and I don't have batteries, so I would like to change that. Batteries. Probably, where's the batteries? Those are transformers. Solar panels are there, and batteries are there. So we need some batteries in order to keep us through the night with our solar power. Obviously we have the, what's it called, ignium power as well, but solar power is better. And I would like to use it whenever possible, including at night. So, we need xenoferrite plates. We have energy cells, although not enough for more than a couple of them. Let's go in and find some more energy cells, which I believe are here, right? Yeah. So grab another stack of those. And a couple stacks of xenoferrite plates. Alright, how many are left in this? So let's just grab that. It's empty now. Congratulations, we have run out of xenoferrite in this whole half of the factory. Now we also need to grab some of these. And some glass, although we're not going to be using the glass for solar panels, we're using the glass to keep the light bot production running. So we head over here, plenty of minerals there. Grab another 600 glass. And a good solid supply of gravel backed up anywhere. No, these are all going as fast as they can, pretty much. Okay. That's fine. So we're just gonna head over here. If there was a big supply of gravel, I could grab that and use it instead, and then use the glass to make solar panels. But apparently that's not an option. Nice Technum supply you got there. It'd be a shame if it would have run out within like a half hour or so. The good news is that we're going to be rich. Alright, so now we're back here. Well, that's the ignium. So we have ignium once more. Which means that this whole thing is going to start running again, and we're going to get another nice little spike. You glass can go in there. The ignium is going along. These have already emptied out, because of course they have. Hopefully we'll be producing some steel. Yep, I am seeing some steel coming out of this. Not a lot. Not a whole lot. Looks like mostly probably making machinery components. Let's see, actually. Can you tell how many just unnecessary extra machinery components we've been making? Where would that be? This line? Yeah, this is all backed up. And these machines are also all backed up. Alright, so the good news is, not going to be making any more machinery components, really. Like, we just need these machines to back up, and then these machines to back up, and then we'll be done with the wasteful xenoferrite supply. I think we need these orders to keep coming. Otherwise, we're going to definitely run out. And our temporary glass supply fix should be enough to keep the lights on. Alright, this is the ignium. It's empty again. How? I thought I wasn't using that much. Oh no, is this... No, this is the glass stuff, so that's fine. It's supposed to be like that. As far as the ignium goes, we actually have several hundred to spare. Right, so this is obviously taking half. We're just gonna actually tell you to prioritize that so that this just overflows quicker because it's very close to it. And like the sooner that this can go and be done, the better. So yeah, that's up to 200. This is about to be up to 200. That's up to 200. These first couple aren't quite as full, but we should be controlling the rates properly now. Which means, yes, I do see light bots going off to be sold on the market, which is fantastic. Yep. And there we go, sending off another shipment of those. Now, R&D lab, light bots. Alright. Production efficiency would sort of mess with ratios a little bit, so I don't really want to do that. I think the plan is just product weight to max, and then swap to product quality. Because also, like, we can't, like, it's kind of difficult to actually move these things. Like, there's only so much demand for them. Right, yeah, there goes the light bots. And these sales are going to be great. If we can manage to make them. And this has leveled up. So we can make them even lighter. And then I think one more time, or maybe two, can be improved 4 times. So if it starts at level 1, we can get them to half weight, which I think is how that works. Because yeah, physically getting these bots off, physically getting these bots onto the space station is apparently going to be a bigger challenge than I anticipated. As will be physically getting the ore down here. But once we have all of the money, we can figure out how to fix those problems. And I think part of that is just upgrading our cargo ships to version 2s or even to medium cargo ships, which would require rearranging all of these so that, because the medium landing pads are obviously going to be bigger, but plenty of upgrades to make, which should cause all of this to get even more efficient than it is. And we have 70 light bots there. This is filled. And this cargo ship is just going to be moving back and forth forever. Alright, and it lands. And yeah, you carry as many as you can. Docked and loaded cargo, and off it goes. And then it's going to go up. And then come back down, and then go up, and then come back down. Yep, it's already coming back down. Good grief, this really is quick. Alright, there's ignium. There's that. Still missing xenoferrite. No cargo ship inbound. When's the next shipment coming? 6 minutes. Alright, we need to... So obviously it's a lower priority than the actually getting the mineral rocks input, but we do need to make the galactic market shipments a lot faster. Speaking of which, we are up to 7,479. So we are... Frankly, I don't even think we're making any progress at the moment. But eventually, eventually this will all stabilize to a specific rate of input and output. Like currently we're buying as much as we can as fast as we can, which is why the money is equal. Once it stabilizes and we have like all the resources bought that we need temporarily, then we should reach a nice equilibrium of making tons of money. Alright. But yeah, I would say that is probably that. It's 4:42. We really accomplished quite a significant project today. So yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Tomorrow we're going to be back to Satisfactory, working on our nuclear plutonium thing again. We have a fair amount of work to do there. And then on Tuesday, which is the next time we'll be playing this, we will be back here just getting this all stabilized and then using the money to buy all sorts of upgrades, which will make this go even faster, and then eventually buy stuff to make our main base work again. And we're just going to be buying Technum and Xenoferrite over there as well, probably, which is a little awkward because it's going to clash with how much we can take from this, but not much I can do about that. We'll just have to upgrade the ships to move fast enough that it doesn't matter. Alright, so yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out, man. This ship is zooming back and forth like crazy. Yeah, so yeah. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream Monday to Friday, every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. And I play Foundry on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Satisfactory on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. So make sure to follow if you're interested in either of that. And yeah, that's about it. Bye.